Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting in a Fan. Before I get to today's video, I keep saying today, but before I get to this video, I would like to have Drake, more commonly known as my awesome audiovisual person for my YouTube videos, do a close-up of my pendant. As some of you know in YouTubeLand, I change pendants depending upon the transiting sun signs. So this is a star ruby. And just like I seem to attract a lot of fluorite pieces that are more teal than, let's say, purple or green, I tend to attract a lot of star rubies that are more purple than red. And believe it or not, I even have a matching ring, which Drake is going to do a close-up of the ring as well. Now, for the record, I do not remember where I purchased the ring. I do remember where I purchased the pendant. The pendant itself, I purchased at Stick, Stone, and Bone, one of my all-time personal favorite metaphysical stores in Manhattan, in the Greenwich Village district of Manhattan, to be precise, in New York City. It was there waiting for me. I do not remember where I found the ring, but again, most of the star rubies that I attract are more purple than red. But I digress. So this is the pendant that I'm wearing while the sun is in Sagittarius. In the meantime, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is sacred solitude. You know, I do not take it for granted that my life is structured in such a way that I can engage in sacred solitude, which by doing that I mean that I stay at home, which has never been an issue for me. I keep my phone off, I keep my computer off, and I have this wonderful period of engaging in meditation, prayer, rituals, journal writing, without the obligations, the distractions, the noise of the outside world. And for the last few years, when I engage in sacred solitude, I say that I'm in the realms of the goddess. When I'm not in sacred solitude, I'm not in the realms of the goddess, I'm in the world of men. That is a sexist phrase. I do not say that phrase in a sexist manner, although some of you may hear it in a sexist way. And I acknowledge that, but it just sounds more natural to me. In other words, the realms of the goddess as opposed to the world of men. And you know, there is that old expression, the evil that men do. But that's definitely another topic for another video, for another day, one that I probably won't pursue as a video. But I always love to talk about sacred solitude because for me, at least my experience, engaging in sacred solitude is this massive reset. I've noticed that every time I engage in sacred solitude, I'm going to have Drake check something because I heard a click. Drake, I heard a click. Can you make sure that everything's okay? Everything's okay? Okay, thank you, Drake. So as I was saying, every time I engage in sacred solitude, I find that my emotions are more balanced, I laugh more, I enjoy life more, I can handle stressful situations a little bit better. Maybe not masterfully, but definitely a little bit better than when I was not engaged in sacred solitude. I also find that financial opportunities and or money miracles come into my life sometimes while I'm engaged in sacred solitude, and other times after I return to the world of men. I find it to be one of the most powerful of all the spiritual practices I do. It is a spiritual practice that is especially sacred to me, to the point that my intention is to have at least one sacred solitude period every month. That's not always possible for me. That's not always feasible for me. There are times when that doesn't work. There are times when That just isn't going to happen. Off the top of my head, I don't know if I'll have the opportunity to engage in Sacred Solitude next month. I definitely feel the need for it. And I also want to talk about the fact that I was engaged in Sacred Solitude from Thursday, November 23rd, until this past Sunday, November 26th, 2023. Now, I am well aware of the fact that in the United States, the fourth Thursday of November is Thanksgiving. And those of you who've been watching my videos for a while, or even for a short time, you know that gratitude is a daily practice for me. Gratitude is not one of those, well, let's do something that I'm thankful for every day of November, because not every country celebrates Thanksgiving. Did you know that? And I know that Canada celebrates Thanksgiving, but not in November. So there are literally a handful of countries on planet Earth that celebrate Thanksgiving. The United States happens to be one of them. But I don't need Thanksgiving to be thankful. And the more that I learn about First Nation challenges and the atrocities that white men committed against First Nation or Native American people, the more I look at Thanksgiving as a day of mourning. And personally, again, not to mention the fact that on a personal note, I lost my taste for Thanksgiving back in 2019. Let me just say that it was common to eat it in the hospital, and I got to the point where I was like, yeah, I can't even look at this, let alone eat this. So yeah, I mean, if there was nothing else, then maybe, but you know. So I've lost my taste for turkey altogether. I'm not a vegetarian, I'm not a vegan. If you saw what I ate today, you would not be calling me a vegan or a vegetarian, for dinner that is. But I will tell you that it just doesn't work for me. Turkey is fine. You have the turkey, you can have the turkey. But yeah, I just can't do it anymore. And I haven't been able to do it since 2019, so anyway. But yeah, it really, and for the record, my life partner and I usually have a very quiet Thanksgiving. We just have it all with ourselves. My life partner's mother lives in another city, in another state, but I think she would be more excited if all three of her children were together in the same city and state for Thanksgiving. I think then she would be more excited about Thanksgiving and more excited about celebrating it as a family feast type of deal. But getting back to Sacred Solitude, I know that for a lot of people in YouTubeLand, engaging in even one day of Sacred Solitude, of having no contact with the outside world, of keeping your phones and your computers off for an entire day is virtually impossible. But what about an hour? What about 10 minutes? You know, I had a very dear friend who's been living in Pennsylvania for more than a decade now, and I will tell you that I remember the last position of employment that she had before she moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania. She said to me that she felt like she had to hide in the bathroom for 5 minutes to have some me time. And that made no sense to me. Yes, she's a mother. Yes, she's a wife. Yes, she has a position of employment. But I'm like, why would you feel that that's how you have to live your life? Like, and eventually she realized, you know what? I don't have to sacrifice solitude because I'm a wife and a mother and because I have a job. I can be a mother, I can be a wife, and I can be a working woman and have solitude, even if it's only for 5 minutes, without having to hide in the frickin' bathroom. And I agreed with her. And even though I'm not in contact with her as often as I would like these days, it is my sincere hope and wish that she does have opportunities to engage in sacred solitude. I really enjoy having solitude. And I invite all of you in YouTube land to see when and where you can engage in sacred solitude, even if it's just for 5 minutes. I promise you, even if you just for 5 minutes turned off your phone, turned off your computer, and actually spent time with yourself. And you don't even have to do anything. You could read a book, you could journal, you could meditate, you could pray, you could engage in ritual or do a spell, or you could just be quiet and just experience that silence and that sacred silence, that still silence, that sacred stillness of silence. Say that 3 times fast. It makes a huge difference for me, and it is my hope, my wish, my prayer, my whatever you want to call it, that some of you could experience engaging in sacred solitude. Again, you don't have to do it for 4 days or even for 1 day, but even doing it for 5 minutes, even 5 minutes has got to be something you could do. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know all of you in YouTube land. But I absolutely invite you to engage in solitude and make it as sacred as possible, whether it's 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, whatever, however, whenever, wherever, whatever you can do. And I would love to hear if you do engage in sacred solitude and what's your usual. My usual is 3 days, but every once in a while I will treat myself to 4 days. My intention is to do 4 days during my birthday month. Don't know exactly when, because believe it or not, I still do not have a copy of the Many Moons 2024 Lunar Planner. However, I expect to rectify that either next week or the week after next. But for now, I am most thankful to all the gods for bringing me a life where I can engage in sacred solitude for 3 days, 4 days, 1 or 2 days, and for bringing me so many blessings during that period of sacred solitude as well as after I return to the world of men. And of course, thank you to all of you in YouTube land for honoring who I am and what I do, for all the likes, for all the comments, for all the shares, and for all the subscriptions to my YouTube channel. And of course, as always, an extra big and extra bountiful and extra beautiful and extra beauteous thank you to those of you who have already scheduled your sessions. And yes, I am still available for sessions, for readings, and for energy healing treatments, so you know what to do. I wish all of you a beautiful night and a wonderful week. In the meantime, stay tuned, stay hydrated, stay safe, stay well, and stay tuned in to the next video.